got it.
They pay you rent?
No. No, but there's a stipulation.
Uh-huh.
They have to keep it looking nice and they can't electrify it.
Yeah.
And it can't get any bigger than it is.
Okay.
Well, that came about, really, the agreement on the sign came about because Mrs. Francois went over there, and I can't remember who had the place at the time, Alpine at the time.
Maybe Spencer's?
Hmm?
Maybe Spencer's, do you think?
No, this was pre-Spencer. It might have been Elmer Ross, or, I don't know, I really can't remember. But when we went over there, she went over and she told the people that they had to take the sign away. She was really nasty. And so they were all upset about it. Well, of course, in the interim, between her going over there and saying this, and the next summer, we bought the property. And so I knew that they were upset, so I went over there and I said, I do not think you have to take your sign down, and I don't care. I just have these stipulations, and so that's in writing, and that's
fair.
what it is.
Pretty fair.
So,
You said you had lots of stories. Do you remember some stories of?
this and see. Nick, can you jog my memory?
Well, one of the stories is Presque Isle, and they said to whoever was at the Red Owl at the time, I'd like a mile of string. And they knew that the bay was probably more than a mile long, so they brought the string
How to
down.
get it, it's not coming off. I wanted to get him
Yeah,
telling
this
this
is
mile of
Nick
string.
Williams talking
Oh,
now.
how did you do that?
Helen's son.
Oh, that's what I did, but it didn't go.
Helen's son.
Okay.
Herm Merker, Mom's brother, and his cousin John Merker were kind of a unusual duo, and
I can
they
imagine.
decided one day that they wanted to know two things. They wanted to know how long was the bay, and they wanted to know how fast a certain boat and motor could go. It was a step boat that was on someone else's property, and so they married up a boat and a motor, but before that they went up to Presque Isle and they asked the guy, because of course at that time when you got your groceries it wasn't paper bags, they would wrap it in brown paper with string and then you'd bring your stuff home that way. So they said to the guy they needed a mile of string, and they finally talked about how much string they really needed and so forth. So they brought it up here and they put it out on the bay with an anchor at each end, and they forgot that string expands when it gets wet. And so they were racing up and down the bay with a stopwatch because they were wannabe engineers trying to figure out how fast this boat was going. And that's kind of the end of the story, but just the procurement of the string and all this weird business.
I think the procurement of the boat was probably.
Yeah, the procurement of the boat was interesting too, but
That part you can let go.
but the guy with the guy in Presque Isle at the grocery store did not charge them for the string. He thought it was such a hoot of what they were trying to do that he just gave it to them.
Wow.
Doctor, have you got it on?
I've got it in, yeah.
Dr. Koch, he had the place that Overton's have now. And he was up here a good deal of the time in the summer. He came from someplace in Michigan, and I'm not too sure whether he was retired at that point or not. He probably was. And what they used to do with him, because they were making moonshine back in the woods, the story goes that they would come and they would blindfold him, and they would take him back to where they were making the moonshine. And because they were volatile people from Kentucky, they were always having fights, and people were always getting hurt. And he'd stitch them up. And then and maybe he even tested the moonshine for all I know. And then they would blindfold him and take him back again. And that went on during Prohibition. Now, I had a friend. That was another thing that was interesting, was that, of course, we used Dr. Kate.
Okay.
We would, when somebody would get hurt or something like that, we'd go down there and she'd stitch them up. And I had a friend up here and we were fishing, and I got a fish hook, I got a pikey minnow caught in her forehead like this. And so we came in from fishing, and my grandfather looked at us and he said, "Oh, did you have a nice time?" And he didn't even acknowledge that this thing was hanging in front of her face. Well, my grandmother was a little less blasé, and she said, I think we better go do something about that. So we bundled ourselves into her car. By this time, of course, we were, I was 16, so I don't know what the road situation was. But anyway, we bundled ourselves into the car and we went down to Dr. Newcomb's house. And she was there, and her husband was, I think he was part Indian. He was asleep on the couch, and he never cracked an eye all the time we were there with all this hula. And she got the alcohol out, and the alcohol was the color of dark tea. And she put alcohol on my friend's forehead and poured the alcohol back in the bottle.
Just to use
And then she
again.
said, well, now what we have to do is to poke it through. So she poked it through and she cut off the barb and pulled it out. And then she said, now you have to have a tetanus shot. And so Jane had a tetanus shot, and that was, I mean, it was perfectly okay, but she was good at that kind of stuff. So, and I don't know how much my grandmother paid her, but it probably wasn't much.
Yeah.
So,
Do you, did you feel, I'm just trying to think of healthcare, because you were a long ways away if someone got hurt or took a fall or,
we never thought about it.
yeah,
I mean, we just assumed we were okay.
yeah, I guess as one does.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh-huh.
there was just no question in our minds. Now, my grandfather hated it up here. Now, his brother was the one who,
Your grandfather hated it here.
oh yeah, he didn't like it at all. It
So
was-
he didn't come when your grandma.
Well, he would come, and then he would manufacture a reason to leave. He'd send himself a telegram and say that his business required that he go back to Milwaukee.
Oh,
And
what
so
a story.
he'd get on the train and he would go back to Milwaukee.
Do you
my
think your
grandmother-
grandmother was onto that?
Oh, of course she was, of course she was. It was enough that she got him up here at all.
Well, so he must have been, his job was his work, and
Yeah,
this was her,
this was hers,
Albert.
and his job was to go back to work and do what he was doing,
oh, funny.
so.
Do you remember, Helen, when you were able to come by road all the way in, you know?
Yeah, that was in, I'm not too sure when they connected the road to Weininger. It was not connected for a long time.
North
And we
from
could
it?
go as far as Lot 10, which is where Lori is. So that's as far as we could go. And then that was where we had the big garage down at the shore and so forth. And then, probably shortly after that, and it's in your timeline, I can't
1947,
remember.
you got the road.
Hmm?
Ah.
1947, you got the road into
Well,
the
that's when
house.
we got our road in, but
And about the same time, electricity.
no, electricity came in 1950.
Oh, okay.
And then we got the telephone in 1962,
Okay.
so.
Did you get mail? Mail must have come over
Oh,
too.
yeah, we got mail every day.
So you did get, so you had that communication?
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And it was nice that we didn't have to walk down to the corner anymore.
Walk down to the road.
And my grandmother, I mean, I don't think we went down to the mailbox more than about once every 3-4 days
Uh-huh.
down there.
Uh-huh.
And we'd find mice in there and rocks and all kinds of stuff.
Do you have critter memories? You mentioned mice, you mentioned black bear.
Deer, we had a pet deer one time, and my
Uh-huh.
grandmother fed her all our fruit. And then they put her in the boathouse when she was, for deer season. And the caretaker fed her all winter, but then the next summer, my grandmother decided that was silly, so they gave up, and then the deer went over to Alpine, and they let her in the dining room, and she apparently kicked out a window, and
Sure.
I mean, they're not
Not domesticated.
domesticated at
Yeah.
all.
Uh-huh.
And other than that, I don't think that, I mean, we fished and we did all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
but, you know, I mean, I caught that.
You caught that?
Yeah,
Very
my
nice.
husband never caught a legal muskie, but I always did,
Yeah.
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 And then in later years, Buzz and I did a lot of hunting. We hunted grouse a lot.
Okay.
We would range back between here and Michigan. And
So you can't, I'm not a hunter, do you hunt grouse only in the fall or year round?
Yes,
Okay,
only in the fall.
okay,
In the spring and the summer, you go, if you see them, you tell them to get off the road.
but so you came, when you were married then and had your own family,
Yeah.
you were able to come more than summers when it was easier to get here?
No, we still didn't come in the
Okay.
winter.
But you did come like fall for hunting?
Well,
and-
now, when Buzz and I were married, we went to the Gateway for our honeymoon. We were married
Oh.
on the 22nd of February. And we
What
decided,
year, what year?
1948,
Okay.
and we decided that we would come over. He didn't want to ski, and when we got there, the last few people were leaving on crutches because they had had an ice storm, and he said, "You're not getting me on skis. I can't afford to break anything."
Yeah,
So we came over here and we parked on the Crab Lake Road and walked in and saw the caretaker at that time and stuff, and that is really the only time that I've ever been over here in winter.
even since.
Well, no, after Buzz and I built this place, which was in 1970, then we would come up one long weekend every month in the winter.
Okay,
And if the weather report said it was gonna be 40 below, we weren't coming because there wasn't anything to do. But
Right.
basically what we loved to do was cross-country ski.
uh-huh,
And we knew all of the back roads back in here,
be
you
beautiful.
know, and it was all the snow, we'd go on the snowmobile trails and all the rest of it, and there were
Uh-huh.
skis, and it was wonderful.
Yeah,
We loved it.
and now you winter in Tucson, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
When you're not here.
Well, the thing is that I can't really deal with winter here. The hill is difficult and.
Oh, I thought of that when we were driving in.
Yeah, this
But,
is,
but you come year round, Nick,
Yes.
of course,
yeah.
yeah.
Is it a problem?
We've got 20 minutes yet on
Oh,
the
okay.
camera.
We're looking hesitant. What do you remember about,
I
did
don't
you go to,
remember a whole lot, because I was at Red Owl grocery store,
right,
and,
The hardware store.
yeah, the hardware store, which Steve Novak had. And, that was about it. I mean, because we didn't go to the tavern.
right,
We had our own.
yeah. Well, and you didn't have reason to look for friends in town because you
No.
had your own society
Yeah,
among your family.
yeah. And, I mean, we were really strictly summer folk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, you wouldn't have been conscious then of the changes, what,
No.
lumber mill closed totally in
Yeah, that-
34 or so, is it?
Yeah, the late 20s, early 30s, it was gone then.
Yeah,
Mhm.
But I
It
do
changed
have
quite a bit.
pictures of the, that I have taken out of Lakeland Times
mhm,
of what it looked like up here, and
Right.
it's really desolate.
uh-huh,
I think it's amazing that it looks like it does around here now.
for it to still be as natural.
Now, at
Yes, it
one
is.
point, and I don't remember this, but Jules used to tell about it, they had a forest fire that came up from Big Lake. And my grandmother said, "Oh, we buried the blankets." Well, I'm not so sure she really did that, but they cut a lot of roadway through and tried to make a fire break, and it must have been successful because it never had the evidence of fire on this land.
But they don't have their own places.
Mhm.
No.